In the wilds of Alaska, a lonely cabin hides a haunting truth, one that a bear comes back each year to remind a man he can't escape. The wind had its own language out here, whispers over the ridge, long silences between snow flurries, then a low groan through the pines, like a breath held too long. Jonas Callahan heard it all from the stoop of his cabin, boots buried in frost, pipe untouched in his hand. 20 winters. 20 winters since the bear first came. At first, he thought it coincidence. A lone grizzly, drifting near the edge of the trees, never threatening, never scavenging, just watching. Always in early December, always gone by first thaw, and always with that same scar above its left eye. The same scar Jonas remembered from a day he had never spoken of again. Jonas wasn't always a man of silence. Once, he'd worked in the oil fields outside Fairbanks, talked plenty, drank more. Had a family, wife named Elsie, son named Caleb, both gone now. The cabin had been meant as a retreat, temporary, a place to fish, to forget the rig noise, to breathe. But grief, he discovered, didn't let go. It just changed the shape of the air around you. So, he stayed. The town of Marrow Ridge lay 50 miles east. Supply runs were rare now, just once every couple of months when his pantry went dry and the radio gave up its weather reports. Jonas had learned to live with less. No power, no phone, just wood, water, and the bear. Each year, the animal arrived without fail. A mass of muscle and silence, fur thick with snow, amber eyes fixed on the cabin as if it remembered something Jonas did not, or something he refused to recall. He told himself it was chance, told himself nature circled, told himself lies. This winter, the snow arrived in late October. The lake froze fast, glassy and black beneath its first skin. Jonas had just split the last of the birch when he saw the tracks, large, deliberate, fresh. Not a meandering wander, but a path, straight toward the cabin, and stopping. He stepped out with his old Remington slung over his shoulder, just in case. Not to shoot, not anymore. Just for peace of mind. But when he reached the tree line, the bear was already there, massive, calm, unmoving. It looked older this year, slower. There was gray in the muzzle, and the old scar had faded. But those eyes, those deep, golden, unblinking eyes, still burned. He didn't know why, but he said aloud, "You remember too, don't you?" The bear blinked once, and then it sat down. The dreams returned that night. The kind Jonas had buried deep under years of firewood and silence. Dreams of a younger man, a hunting trip gone wrong. Caleb had been 16, eager, headstrong. They had followed tracks through deep snow, fresh bear prints wide as dinner plates. Jonas had been drinking. Not much, but enough. Just enough to steady his nerves. Just enough to miss the warning signs. They had come upon the bear at the edge of the river. A mother, 2 cubs. He told Caleb to hold back, but the boy moved forward anyway, curious, camera in hand, not rifle. The next 10 seconds were screams, chaos, and blood. The shot Jonas fired had missed the charging sow. He remembered her eyes, wild and panicked, swiping. And Caleb, oh Caleb, vanishing into the blur of snow and fur. When it cleared, she was gone. So was his boy. But one cub had stayed behind, snarling, bleeding from a grazing wound on its eye. Jonas never found the body, but he found the cub. He couldn't bring himself to shoot it, not after everything. So he left, let it go, let it live. 20 years later, the bear returned each winter. It had grown massive, king of this forest. But it never approached, never charged, never ate from the traps or took from the cabin. It just watched. And Jonas, in his quiet way, watched back. Some nights he thought it was punishment, other nights, forgiveness. And some nights, like this one, when the sky shimmered with weak auroras and the silence pressed close, he wondered if it was something else entirely. He set out the extra woodpile that evening, as he always did in early December. Left the same offering, half a smoked trout, some dried cranberries, and an old weathered photo in a tin case. A boy with his arms slung around a father who still smiled. In the morning, the offering was untouched. No tracks. For the first time in 20 years, the bear hadn't come. Jonas felt the loss like a blow to the chest. He searched the ridges, the frozen stream, even the grove beyond the ridge where the old willow split in two. No sign. And then he found it. Not the bear, but blood. In the snow. Still warm. A trail led deeper into the trees. He followed, rifle forgotten, heart pounding with something older than fear. The bear lay at the base of a collapsed pine, chest rising in shallow gasps. Its side was torn open, old wound, perhaps reopened. It lifted its head when Jonas approached. No growl, no movement, just eyes. The same eyes. Jonas fell to his knees beside it, breathless. "I remember," he whispered. "I'm sorry." And for the first time, the bear reached forward, not to strike, but to rest its great head against Jonas's knee. He stayed by the bear for 2 days, built a lean-to above them both, lit a fire, melted snow for water, wrapped what wounds he could with strips from his old flannel, fed it bits of jerky. It was a fool's hope, he knew, but he stayed. And in that long, quiet vigil, something shifted inside him. The shame, the weight, the endless ache he thought was his to bear. It softened. He didn't need forgiveness, not from a bear, but he needed to remember, to face it, to feel it. On the third morning, the bear stood. Unsteady, slow, but standing. It turned once to look at him, then disappeared into the snow. The thaw came early that year. The lake cracked with new life. Jays returned to the trees. Jonas, thinner now, older still, stood on the same porch and watched the woods with quiet hope. And one morning, he saw them, a shape beyond the trees, a grizzly, with a smaller shadow behind her, barely a yearling. She looked at him for a moment, then turned and vanished. Epilogue. The cabin remembers. They say memory fades with time, but some places remember, some animals too. And some men, if given enough winters, find their way back from the places they buried themselves in. Jonas Callahan never left that cabin. But the man who stayed wasn't the same one who arrived 2 decades ago. Each winter, he leaves out the smoked trout, not in fear, not in grief, but in thanks. Because some ghosts return not to haunt, but to heal. The bear has returned to the wild, and the cabin keeps its secrets, for now. If you felt the weight of this story, the quiet redemption and the wild's mystery, please like and subscribe to hear more tales that touch the soul. Until next time, stay curious and keep listening to the whispers of the forest.